Hello my fellow oddities and welcome to another design ranking video, and for the first time in the series we will not just be ranking one character but multiple. And there were a few candidates for what this first multi-character ranking could be. I was considering the remaining ninjas or the Shokan, but ultimately with Mortal Kombat 1 having just revealed its next DLC pack, I thought it'd be fitting to cover the two cyber ninjas. Well, technically there's four, but I've already ranked Sub-Zero and Smoke's cyber designs within their own separate videos, so go watch those instead for my thoughts on their cyber designs. But today we'll be ranking Cyrax and Sektor's designs, and the way this is going to work is that I'm not going to mix and match them, so I'm not going to be like, hey, number 6 is a Cyrax design, number 5 is a Sektor design, number 5 is another Cyrax. I'm not going to do that just because that's needlessly confusing, at least for my tiny little brain. So instead I'm just going to do them one by one, starting with Cyrax's 10 designs and then going on to Sektor's 10 designs. And of course, let's reiterate the rules for those who haven't seen the previous rankings. The first rule is that I'll only be considering designs from Mortal Kombat games, which means no comics, movies, or cartoons.
Hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right.
Or any other game franchises a character may have been a part of. The second rule is that I will not be ranking any repeated or reused designs, which means no recreated classic costumes from the later games, or most of the costumes from Mortal Kombat Armageddon. The third rule is for Mortal Kombat 11 only, and it's that I will only be ranking designs featured in the story mode, which, considering Cyrax and Sektor only appear in the story mode, I guess that doesn't matter very much, does it? And the fourth and final rule is that I will not be ranking any designs from the Mortal Kombat mobile games, or I guess just game, only console releases. Without further ado, let's get into Cyrax's 10 designs. At number 10, I have Cyrax's Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance alternate design. Now, I don't really like the designs where they mix cyber parts with a human design. I'd rather just have a completely cyber design or a completely human one. And I think especially on this, it just looks very strange. Specifically, the head area is just kind of ugly to me. And I get the appeal of having sort of an unmasked or even sort of a damaged version of the cyber design that shows some of the human parts, but for me personally, I'm not a fan. It also makes it look like his entire torso is just normal without any cybernetics when you think there would be. It's not offensive or anything, but I struggle to see how any other design is worse than this one. And for similar reasons, at number 9, I have the MK4 alternate, which is similar in concept, but in execution I think is just a bit better. Firstly, it is just his default with a different head, which might seem lazy, and it is. But I look past that since the way that they did the head is much better executed than it was in Deadly Alliance, with part of his eye still being cyberized, and I think that's a great way to blend the cyber parts in his human face rather than it just being kind of like a jarring difference where it's just face and then metal. It's like, I don't know, Iron Man with his mask up or just MK1 Cyrax. But yeah, overall, I'm just not really a fan of this whole concept. At number 8, I have the MK11 Cyrax, and a lot of the NRS cyber designs have a similar combo of issues, and this one is the worst offender in my opinion. Firstly, I really don't like how bulky it looks, especially around the shoulders, chest, and arms, and that's coupled with a weirdly small waist, which accentuates the bulkiness of the upper half. And I just hate how he looks like a Michael Bay Transformer or generic robot action figure with all the complex parts rather than the Predator RoboCop hybrid that the Cyber Ninjas originated as, and that's another thing. They completely abandoned the ninja side of the Cyber Ninjas. No insignias, no loincloths, not even any black, and I know it probably seems like I hate this design and it should be number 10 because of the way I'm talking about it compared to the other two, but I still do prefer it because it is still recognizable as Cyrax. I like how colorful it is, and the glowing green parts look good, but out of the default Cyrax designs, this one is definitely my least favorite. At number 7, I have the MKX or Triborg Cyrax design. Now, all the Cyber Ninjas a part of Triborg have the exact same body, besides for the colors obviously, which kind of sucks, especially since the body is pretty generic, which it would have to be in order to work for every single one of them, but that bumps down points for sure. But the biggest problem I have is with the colors. MKX has this terrible issue with its saturation, and it is atrocious here. The bright yellow is now this. What color even is this? I would say mustard, but even mustard is more vibrant than this. Now, I still like it more than the MK11 one because it's a bit sleeker and less bulky, but the colors just tank this design so much. At number 6, I have the MK9 design, which was kind of the first major redesign for Cyrax and started the more robotic, over-designed version of his armor, and as expected, I don't like it that much. I kind of hate what they did to his face. The classic mask is so much more iconic and memorable, and it wears its influences on its sleeve, but I will have to give credit where it's due. Firstly, it has a much better body design than the MKX or MK11 ones, its colors are at least the right shade, and most of all, it introduced the glowing green eyes and accents throughout the design that has mainstayed as one of Cyrax's main colors, so great on them for that, but I still like the remaining designs better. At number 5, oh lord, get ready for the controversy, I have the Mortal Kombat 1 Cyrax design. Now listen, am I a fan of female Cyrax? Not really, but I'm willing to give it a try. But regardless of my thoughts on having a female version of the character, if he or she or whatever is going to be female, then I think this is a great design for that. Now, it's got some of the same problems with the over-designed robot parts and stuff, but it's much better handled this time around. I also like how angular it is, accentuating the female figure. But my favorite thing about it is how much ninja influence there is. There's a robotic loincloth and ninja vest, these things, and overall, if this design was directly transferred over to a male Cyrax, it would probably be number 1. Though I am kind of iffy on Cyrax and Sektor having the exact same design besides just having different colors. I get that's how it was in the classic games, but I feel like that design philosophy is outdated now, and they should be more unique. At number 4, I have the MK9 Alternate, or the human Cyrax design, and I feel like despite this not being the classic Cyber Cyrax we all love, this is still pretty much in everyone's top 5. And that's because it's a great design. The inverted colors with black being the main one and yellow being the accents looks great, and also the little hints of techie stuff, which makes me wonder actually why Cyrax and Sektor specifically have much more technologically advanced stuff compared to the other Lin Kuei, but it still looks great. But there's really not much to talk about here. I haven't really heard anyone not like these designs, and I personally love them. The only thing that might make them a little better is if they included a mask, just to make it more obvious that they are a Lin Kuei assassin, just like Sub-Zero and Smoke. At number 3, I have the classic MK3 Cyrax design, which you can just never go wrong with. Predator and Robocop fused together to make a 6 Cyber Ninja armor that has stood the test of time. I think it still looks awesome and in place alongside the modern designs of MK1. And you're going to see that with the remaining spots, that this one is basically the base for all my favorite Cyrax designs, along with being one of my favorite Cyrax designs. And that takes me to number 2, the MK4 default, which is pretty much the same as the MK3 design, just with minor differences such as the silver neck, the yellow belt, and a sleeker torso without the accentuated shoulder pads. Other than that, it's all the same, but I do appreciate the differences enough to put it a little bit higher. And at number 1, I have the Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance Cyrax design, which again is very similar to the MK3 one, but does have some significant changes. Much of the yellow armor is removed, but I think the placement of it, where the few bits of it are, look awesome coupled with the sleek black under armor, which I will always prefer to the techie carbon fiber wires and stuff that we get nowadays. They also added some techie screens and glowing bits, specifically this panel on his chest, some gauntlet screens, a glowing red belt, and some red bits on his shin armor, which all coupled together to make my favorite Cyrax design, which has the perfect mix and distribution of all his design aspects. Now, time to move on to Cyrax's sometimes bestie, sometimes arch nemesis, Sektor. At number 11, I have a Mortal Kombat Armageddon alternate design? This has to be a first, right? Like, that's a first? Maybe? Probably not, but ew. Yeah, instead of getting a maskless Sektor like with Cyrax, we got an original design. That is just not my thing at all. I can't really describe what I don't like. It's just an ugly design that makes ugly choices. The straight line visor eye thing looks horrendous to me, and I don't know why he has a black hole in his chest. Why? At number 10, I have the MK11 Chronica design. I think you can probably guess why I don't like this version of Sektor, but I'll give a better answer than just I don't like Chronica. Firstly, not a huge fan of MK11 Sektor in general, but also, I just don't think slapping on the white and gold onto his red base looks good. It quite literally looks slapped on, which I guess makes sense since that's probably what they did, but still. Number 9, I have the Triborg design, which is like half a step forward and then a full step back from the Cyrax one. I could have just said 1 step forward, 2 steps back. It's the same ratio, but I just decided to be weird. The colors are better, not good, but better. But I think the face looks awful on this one and kind of ruined a face mold that looked decent in MK9. It's weird to describe, but he looks puffy, like he got stung by a bunch of bees or is having an allergic reaction, and it's a huge downgrade from the more angular, sharp face from MK9. At number 8, I have the MK11 design. Pretty much all of the complaints from Cyrax carry over here since they have the exact same body, too bulky and complicated, but I do actually like the face and how the glowing parts are kinda in a trifecta, if that makes sense. There's 2 sideways ones for the eyes and then 1 down the middle, which is like, I don't know, his mouth. At number 7, I have the MK9 design. I like this one a little bit better than the Cyrax one. It's less complex in terms of colors since there's less random gray parts cutting into the red, and even when there is, it's less annoying and blends better. Also, like I said earlier, the face shape and design is actually pretty good. Does it pass the classical one? No, but it does take more influence from the classic design than the Cyrax one did, and I really like these sharp red parts that go into the gray. It doesn't really make sense to describe it, so hopefully I can just show it on screen, but I really love that since it makes him feel fittingly evil. The red is a bit dull, but like it's not the end of the world. Whatever, moving on. At number 6, I have the Tournament Edition design. Yes, we're going that obscure, which is just Cyrax's Deadly Alliance design, but red. And I think the design works way better for Cyrax and just the color yellow in general. With red, it looks a bit odd. I think that's just because yellow does a better job highlighting those armor parts, whereas red doesn't do that as well, making it look a bit empty. Oh yeah, and also doesn't help that this design was featured exclusively on the Game Boy Advance. At number 5, I have the MK Armageddon Sektor design, which was the first real 3D era Sektor redesign that we got, which is weird to think about, since you would have thought that he'd be in either Deadly Alliance or Deception, but nope. Now this one dips a little bit into generic robot territory, but not too much, and I do think overall it looks good, especially next to Cyrax's 3D era design. I don't really know why they added a black and yellow caution thing to his chest though. It's kind of distracting, but other than that, I think it's decent. I really like the scraped off or rusted paint effect on the red armor. It gives it a bit more personality with, Sektor being a bit tainted, corrupted. At number 4, I have the Mortal Kombat 1 design, and yeah, get your complaining and controversy and stuff out of the way. Oh, it's female, it shouldn't be female, it's woke, I don't really care. This one is just the Cyrax design, but red, which, like I said earlier, kind of annoying. Like, at this point in our modern gaming era, which isn't going to be modern in like 5 years, they should have different designs, but it's not the biggest deal in the whole world. Like I said earlier, again, the classic designs did it as well, so, can't hold them to the exact same standard, but you kind of can if you want to be completely 100% fair. I think other than that, like, as far as is the red better or is the yellow better, which one's more fitting for the design, it's kind of even on this one. I don't know. I just really like these designs. I really, really like them. Do I wish they were on a classic male Sektor and Cyrax? Yeah, I do. But for them being female, I still think it looks really, really cool and really great. So, suck it. Not actually. That was a joke. At number 3, I have the MK9 Alternate or Human design, and this one is just as great as the Cyrax Human design. I like how you can see the flamethrower tanks on his back, and I like how they mixed up the design of the vest and stuff rather than just directly copying the Cyrax one, but red, which is what a lot of Cyrax and Sektor designs do. Other than that, it's pretty much all the same compliments and stuff that I gave to the Cyrax one, and I still think a mask would make it just a little bit better. At number 2, I have the MK3 design, which is just Cyrax's MK3 design, but red. Yeah, I do like this shade of red more than Cyrax's shade of yellow, and just overall with this design specifically, I think red just works a little bit better as a color. But other than that, yeah, it's just the same thing. And at number 1, this is kind of anticlimactic, but I have the MK4 design, which is just Cyrax's MK4 design, but red. And that one was already pretty much 1-to-1 with the MK3 design. So, yeah, that's it. Huh. Let me know which characters you'd like to see covered next in the comments. Also, make sure to check out the links in the description to my merch store, Twitter, and Instagram. And while you're down there, make sure to give this video a like to show your support. And also subscribe and turn on the notification bell to get notified when I upload my next video. And with that being said, that's it for this video, my fellow oddities. I'll see you next time.